So I'll let the ladies introduce themselves, then we'll take it into to Lester over there. So over to you guys. Thank you.
Good morning, Detroit. How y'all doing? I'm Amber Lewis. I'm the founder and chief creative officer of Social in the City, which is my own creative media agency where on the front end, I'm an influencer full-time, and on the back end, I do event production and community building for content creators to make Detroit a global power player in the creator economy. And yeah, I'm just so happy to be here with you all. I'm also Visit Detroit's very first ambassador, and I'm known as Detroit CEO in partnership with them.
Round of applause, please.
So, good morning. Happy Friday. I am Chanel Dominique. I am the vice chair of the City of Detroit Entertainment Commission. I am a talent manager. I manage Icewear Bezo. I've worked alongside of Cash Doll and numerous amount of Detroit artists that are flourishing right now. I have my own potato chip company titled We Eatin' Snacks. And I'm a mom of two. That's a job. 2 boys at that. So that's a job. And I also am an event producer. So I've put together the first Juneteenth festival at Hart Plaza. And I also do 313-day events where we bring in the likes of Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music to embrace and really be a part of the Detroit entertainment industry. And I'm like the fairy godmother of the hip hop scene here.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing? Good, good. I'm so, again, honored to be here. My name is Lester Booker Jr., native Detroiter, grew up on the east side of Detroit. Most recently, I was with Citizens Bank as the vice president of DE&I Communications, so helping the organization talk about diversity. Again, one of the words we don't want to talk about, we're going to talk about it. Diversity, equity, inclusion. Proud, again, have a lot of roots within the city in terms of different industries. Started off with the Detroit Pistons, automotive roots with General Motors as well as Ford, and then my alma mater, Central Michigan University, so I'm a proud alum of that university, and I'm on the alumni board, so happy to be here to participate in this conversation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. So now let's get into it. Chanel, I want to start off with you. Since you have such an experience, let's have a serious conversation today. Why is Detroit so creative when we look at the history of Detroit? We want to understand why Detroit's culture is reshaped Americans' music today, art, from street art to music. When we look at the likes of the record labels that came out of the city, when we look at the house scene, when we look at the first jazz club in the world, it's from the city of Detroit. So I want us to understand the history first of all, since we are in the city of Detroit and we're talking about a musical event. Let's understand the city of Detroit first from your perspective.
So what we see now as the blueprint and footprint of Detroit's hip hop scene is not what it was maybe 12 or 15 years ago. For so long, a lot of record labels, platforms, influencers outside of the city looked to us as who's the next Big Sean, who's the next Eminem. And the entire time we had our own economy kind of building or ecosystem of a different type of rap. There was always a Blade Icewood. There was always a Cheddar Boys, Street Lords, and a long list of artists that represented Detroit streets. However, what you see now is the roles that grew out of concrete, that was rejected, that may not have gotten the deals they should have gotten back then. And we continue to press and never stop pressing what this sound meant to us. No matter where I went, when my artist Vezo was first signed to Motown Records, he was the first Detroit rapper signed to Motown Records. Motown Records has been an establishment since before I was born. He signed in 2018. And we've had, I just named about maybe 10 different artists or groups that never had that opportunity. And with that, it just continued to grow and say, we have a voice, we have something that we really want to get out. Now, did we have the professional backing or the professionalism of managers, labels to sustain that talent? Probably not in the beginning. So it took a lot of growth in different areas that came again from rejection. You tell us no in Detroit, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna create what we want to be that ecosystem. We're not gonna conform to what you may look at as success, which is even why I created We Eatin' Snacks. I saw a chip company come out with potato chips that catered to a larger scale of artists. They would never look at a Detroit artist. And the one that they did declined the chip offer. So when I came, I said, well, let me create something that is for us, that is an influence of Detroit. We love good food. We have an influence that stretches beyond food. We have a keen sense of what we want to, how we want to look, what we want to wear. We've brokered the brand of Cartier. Cartier is what we grew up like. That's a Detroit brand. It's a global brand that Detroit just took in as its own. Same thing with the D hats. It's people that wear these hats that's not even from Detroit. We've had people love the Detroit Lions, and we just started really winning. We have an influence that is attractive, it is addictive, and we figured out as a hip hop community how to turn that into something that everybody now wants to go into. So we hear rappers now that they may have more sales than a lot of our artists, but they sound just like their cadence, their beats, their everything. So now we understand our value. What we're doing and what we're putting out in the market is the exact influence, the exact intention of what we decided we wanted to do when we said we don't need a label to be successful as artists, managers, influencers, event producers. We can figure this out ourselves. So we all figured collaborative effort over anything else. So we all came together to say, you're a DJ, I'm gonna work with only you or any other Detroit DJ. When I did 313 Day events, it was only for Detroit. Detroit artists, Detroit hosts, Detroit vendors, Detroit promoters, all Detroit. Everything that we do is to try to bring that back into the ecosystem. We're worth billions of dollars in our entertainment industry here alone. And in order for us to tap into that, we had to own where we came from and where we're going, and understand where we're going is bigger than where we came from. And it's an influence that everybody wants a piece of.
Thank you very much. Round of applause for that. It's not easy when we talk about ownership and owning what it's vital, and that's what Detroit has. Now, Amber, from a creator's perspective and Detroit having a hold of creators, and speaking on what Chanel has said and how ownership within the city is, what is your perspective from a creative perspective, and how to take that Detroit creativity to the next level?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And Chanel spoke to this very well. Detroit influences the world, like there's no doubt about it. And you alluded to that earlier with us creating the automobile and really what the modern workday looks like from that structure. We created what the modern American music sounds like, which is global. And as an influencer, that's something that I'm acknowledging, but also seeing that we don't really get the recognition for it globally, our influence on trends, on culture. And so when I'm traveling to other cities, to other countries, representing Detroit, I'm always putting Detroit on my back because I need you to know that we're here. And so I'm at the U.S. Embassy in Paris, like Detroit. I'm at the White House when they have their Creator Economy Conference, like Detroit. I'm often the only person from Detroit in the room, but I need them to know that we're here, what we look like, what we sound like, what we feel like, the experience of a Detroit person. So then we can get that kind of recognition that we deserve. It's why I'm showing up in a fringe skirt into a corporate space, because you're gonna notice, and then you're gonna be like, oh, that girl is from Detroit. And every time you see me, I don't care if you don't know my name, know Detroit. And so as a creator, we often carry that responsibility of taking Detroit with us, not only in our content, in our partnerships, in our campaigns, but in the rooms that we enter in, and bringing other Detroiters along. And what I'm seeing today is a lot of those opportunities that I got in other countries and other cities. They liked it so much that they're like, we want you to bring more Detroit creators to this year. And so with my goal of making us a global power player, it's not only like making sure these brands see us, but it's making sure that the content creators are prepared, they're educated, they have the business acumen for global opportunities. And so when those opportunities come, like, we're ready to hit the ground running. And so that's kind of what it means to like put our cultural and influence into work, into action as a content creator, but also just there's so many creators, right? Like anybody with a cell phone can be a content creator, and that's the beauty of it, right? Like that's also kind of the essence of Detroit. We take what we have and we make something out of nothing. And so as content creators, we're crafting stories and getting video and photo and a lot of what ad agencies do, but just from the comfort of our home. And I say that because I have an advertising degree from Michigan State, so I understand the back end. And so it's just a really good time to be a creator in the city of Detroit, but it's also a good time to keep our foot on the gas, to make sure that we're not only seen, heard, and supported, but invested in. And that's why conversations like this matter.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, we've heard from two perspectives. We've heard from a business owner. We've heard from a creator. Now, one of the major things that pushes creativity forward is brand partnerships and brand support, brand endorsements, and creativity of how that is actually giving back and how that flourishes to be able to grow, especially when we talk about independent agencies in Detroit and talking about how brands or record labels back down in LA and in New York are able to partner with some of the biggest brands like Spotify, like you said, and all those big brands from the NFL and other amazing brands. Now, Lester, from a brand's lens, in terms of creating impact, right? How can brand be authentic in working with both an entrepreneur, a creator, in creating that perspective of what Detroit authenticity and creativity can look like?
Sure, no, it's a great question. I think the biggest thing from a brand perspective is knowing your audience, right? Knowing the culture, knowing that it's business, it's a relationship. You want the community to resonate with what the business is doing. So again, being able to take the time to get into the community, take the time to learn what's going on, take the time to invest back in the community with those partnerships and content creators and opportunities. So some of the brands I've been able to work on, we've been part of the heartbeat of the city, bringing those folks together and being able to say, okay, this is a Black small business. There's an opportunity here for growth, and there's an opportunity here for us really to get the word out on what's going on. I think the biggest thing, being a person of color in the room, you really have to help these organizations and help folks understand the business. I think sometimes that's where the miss is when it comes to partnerships, understanding the business line, understanding what's going on. So I try to, in the partnerships that I've done, try to make sure that those connections are made. And from a Detroit perspective, even most recently with the NFL draft, there's been so many opportunities for Detroit really to stand out. Obviously, over 1 million people. This is the biggest event that's happened. So that's just one of the different partnerships that really recently had. And again, from a citizen's perspective, we engage with the community and rooted content creators as well as business owners and some of the work that we did with our clients during that time, and really shown the footprint. And from a market share perspective, we were able to show the value as we're trying to, and again, I was in rooms where we tried to fight for market share for Detroit, because some of the other places around the country, the Los Angeleses, the Bostons, the market share is higher there. But I said there's the opportunity, a business opportunity here by us partnering and showcasing that value.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So now I want to take 1 minute each to ask you one question, which is, we've talked about the history of Detroit. We've talked about the community of Detroit and creators. We talked about impact and fighting and making sure Detroit happens. Now, what's your call to action? I want to start with Chanel. What's your call to action that you want to see within the next 12 months for the city of Detroit, from your perspective, that brands should be able to be part of, and the people who are commuting with this city, because we have about 3,000 to 5,000 people that will be in the city within the next 24 to 48 hours. Right? What's your call to action that we need to be engaged with to be able to bring that authenticity that has been here for over 100 years? How do we push that forward that you want to see within the next 12 months?
So I'll give an example. So I was introduced to Abdul by Tuma in December from YouTube. And he said, Abdul's coming to Detroit. He's doing Afrofuture, and I think you guys should talk. When Abdul and I got on the phone, one of the first things I said was, we are a city that is very, very intimate, and we're also sensitive. So when we see big brands or festivals or events come in town and it doesn't tap into our ecosystem, and what we're doing and what we've built here, we feel slighted. And so we immediately start figuring out, and he came together with a group of Detroiters to create different activations that started bringing recognition to what Afrofuture was months before today or this weekend. And I think that is something that has to continue to resonate. Way back in the day, we were known for like a no-fly zone, right? Where if you came here, you had to go check in with somebody, and it was this stigma that it was just like you're not invited. That was never what it was, and I was never a part of that initiative, but I knew the definition, and that was more so of you come to our city and you're making a profit, you're advertising your brand. We're here trying to figure ourselves out. We know we're gonna go to your show, but can you do something to make sure we get to this type of opportunity, that we're exposed to what you're doing, or we're a part of that movement, a part of that event in some way. We don't have to be the people to give it, but if we are in some way creating initiatives where these events, these entities are tapping into our Detroit businesses, our influencers, our artists, and really making it not a Detroit thing, but we're happy to be in your city, we recognize you, we see you thing. That is what has to continue to resonate. Where Afrofuture or whatever event comes to the city, we've got production teams right here, and they should be hired for that job. We have artists here, and you probably should maybe try to book one or create some type of activation with that artist before we go promoting people. We hear them on the radio, but we love our artists more. And once we know that you as a brand love us as much as we love you, we family forever. That's how Jeezy is who he is here. That's how a lot of artists that are not from here love to come here. And they say we are one of the hardest markets. It's only because we come from a place of passion. We know our worth, our value. We can't just let anybody come in and tell us how we have to operate there. Or, hey, this ticket, go buy it and come on in. No. How can we be more involved in that? Make sure you hire Amber to talk about this. I say it all the time. Yeah. All the time. Listen, hey, hire Miles. Hey, we do a lot of work in this city, and we do it sun up to sundown. So to have an entity like Afrofuture or Bedrock or others that come in and recognize that and want to work with us, you got a friend for life, a partner
That's
for
dope.
life.
That deserves a round of applause. Important is inclusivity, including the city, right, and including people in the city, and is the same thing I told Smade when he was coming down here a few years ago. I like, you can't come do stuff in this city without including the city of Detroit. And that was part of the issue that he had with coming into the city, because inclusivity, no matter whoever you're bringing outside of the city, if you're not bringing people from within the city and understand that you have to embrace the city itself, right? It's not going to work out. It's just going to be an outside event, because Detroit has had an experience where people have not included it in whatever processes and things that happen within the city. And that is the irony of it that has been for years. And now we've seen the change, especially around the train station. We've seen the change in the city of Detroit. Shout out to the likes of Bedrock and other brands who understand that the city needs to be part of it. So this goes to you, Amber. From a creative perspective, for the next 12 months, what do you want to see?
So for the next 12 months, my CTA for brands is to invest in Detroit, our talent, our creatives, our curators, like the cultural capital that we are, with intention and with integrity. Don't try to sell us short or count us out because of what your perception of the city of Detroit is. And like Chanel said, if you're going to come to Detroit, come to us with reverence, because we are an intimate city in that way. And I think we look at it in a way of like, I would never come to your house and disrespect your house as a Detroiter. That's just not how we were raised. And so we don't tolerate that either. As visitors, if you're visiting to Detroit, also come to Detroit, but come correct. We have a lot of narratives about our city that just aren't true. But when you come here, come with an open heart, open ears, open eyes, because we are a kind people, but you have to come correct to get that kindness. And to creatives, to talents, to businesses, my CTAs, just keep stepping and showing up like the city and the people that we are, because that's what makes this city so special, and that's what's attracting everything that's coming here. Like, that's just who we are. And so I hope that with all of those, that we can come together and really continue to amplify and grow the impact that Detroit has, not only locally, but globally, because of that intention behind each group of people.
Thank you very much. Applause to that. So Lester, it's you.
It's on me. Few things I would like to see. Really us investing in the workforce of the future. Again, there's such great young people here. We want to keep them here, having innovative programs and opportunities for them to get that hands-on experience. So from a business perspective, investing in the youth, because again, we don't want them to go to, again, no shade, to LA and New York and all these other markets. And again, we're seeing the number of students going to college. That number's down substantially over the last 10 years. So again, how are we investing in our youth? And then to the points that have been made, again, when we're out in the markets, again, when we're out, there's a narrative on Detroit. I go to Boston for work. I go to Rhode Island for work. There is Detroit as it is. I'm hearing all these good things. Yeah, there's a lot of good things going on. There's a lot of innovation going on. Some stuff's going on more in some of the other markets. So continue to tell the story, be the light in a dark place. I think that is what I expect all the people in this room to do, really to carry that narrative within their markets, within their businesses, within their rooms, and being able to, again, to support right back into the city. Again, we have an exciting time here with the mayor's race and the governor coming up in the next year. There's the NCAA. Again, I'm just using some big partnerships for an example. There's all this innovation that's happening within our city. And to that point, our folks need to be at the table when these conversations are happening and not an afterthought. And again, business owners and corporations need to make sure that they're keeping an authentic relationship with the community. Not a transformative one, not just because we need you, but an authentic, open form of communication to impact this community.
Thank you very much. So now we have time for just one question. Does anybody in the audience have a question? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for all of that you contributed so far. I'm very inspired by the things that you said. As a native Detroiter that just moved back after many, many years, I want to help spread that message. I've made attempts in the past, but what would be your advice on the best path for me to take and to really focus in on putting that positive light on Detroit?
What's your industry?
So business consulting is my background in legal, but I also have a podcast, and it's about putting out positive things. So that's one angle, and then content creation is another interest that I have.
I got two things for you. Get with Amber.
Okay.
And then number two is taking clips from your podcast and putting it out on all of our sites that we watch all the time. Hip Hop Lab, Metro Detroit News, Black Detroiters, Forum Magazine, Detroit Rap Daily. There's about 10 sites right now that are active, and it's just really about treating yourself like you your own client and doing a little quick press run.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, keep speaking, one, and also do strategic, intentional partnerships. So whoever you want to amplify your message to, whoever your audience is, look at who's speaking to them and see how you could collaborate and work together. That's the nature of Detroit. We are always working together to amplify what we're doing with people who are doing similar things, and so don't count out collaboration.
Oh, of course.
Get those voices on there. Get those voices of the city on there and let them help you spread. Do your PR. You're going to do your PR. Let them help you get that message out to different folks, and I think you'll be very successful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll come.
Oh, awesome. Yay.
Thank you very much. One thing I learned from this panel was that Detroit needs to be included in what comes into Detroit. Detroit is the epitome center of creativity, and that is not going away anytime soon. And the call to action is, if you're coming into this city, you have to understand inclusivity in terms of growth for yourself and for within the city itself. So I want to thank the panelists for joining us on this amazing panel on the city of Detroit.